So this is a review for the Slap-Hoppy Mouse. And with me today is someone who's perhaps not a mouse, but he is very slap-hoppy. He's my good friend Matt Hunter. Say hi.
Hey man, you're a real cool cat.
I am indeed. And it's kind of funny with your surname being Hunter. There is a bit of a reference later on when we
You're
go
right.
through. So it kind of works out. And I think that's the reason you chose this one. No, I'm kidding. I know you like this one and we'll certainly go through why. But a few bits of info to get underway. So as mentioned, this is the Slap-Hoppy Mouse released on the 1st of September 1956. It's the 779th of the series and it's directed by Bob McKimson. On physical media, it's on the Looney Tunes Superstars Hippety Hopper set, which contains all of them. But as for the high definition version, it's currently on streaming. I think Tubi has it or whatever, but hopefully one day it'll come on a Collector's Vault disc.
Yeah,
Which I'm sure you agree with, yeah.
I agree. It was one of that batch of cartoons that they did for those superstars that maybe isn't the most dazzling restoration in the world, but they've kind of given it another pass, I think, when they did it for HBO. And I was watching that version and I'm like, there's some stuff in the background that I picked up that I never did before. Whatever you think of Dick Thomas as a background painter, some people don't think he was as original or interesting as some of the others, but there's some cool stuff going on in this one.
This one is interesting from the background point of view, where McKimson was definitely getting more stylized in certain shots, and yet this one, it's more realistic. That was something that most studios would do away with around this time. That would be more like UPA.
Kind of more literal backgrounds than even the rest of them were doing at this time. Like Friz Freeling and Chuck Jones, by this point, were both doing very UPA-inspired backgrounds. And these are a little bit more traditional.
For those of you that are hoping to watch this short on YouTube, you're not going to see it here. It is under copyright. Only Warner Brothers themselves can upload it. And if you see someone else has uploaded it, well, it'll be taken down eventually. Believe me, they're very strict on all of that. But in case you haven't seen this, you might think, okay, it's your typical Sylvester Jr., Sylvester, and Hippety Hopper outing. And you'd be right, except this one is a little different. I like that there's variations. So this one, you have Sylvester and Sylvester Jr. living the dream cat life. You know, me and you are cat guys, and we know this is the dream cat life from the beginning.
Yeah, just lie around all day and get fed and meow. That's not all they want to do.
Exactly, but this is not really a life for Junior. He says to Sylvester, oh, the other cats are calling you soft, and Sylvester, having none of that, with his pride being, you know, what it is, he decides to take his boy hunting in an abandoned house. They eventually see Hippety Hopper, who seems to have come from this train in a very unsecured box, which is very bizarre.
The cartoon logic way of setting up a plot, it's like, okay, so that big old house happens to be mouse infested, and it just happens to be bordering a railroad.
So this is McKimson's equivalent of Pepper Le Pew. So Chuck Jones always said that when setting up Pepper Le Pew's, you have to figure out, okay, how do I get the paint on the back of Penelope? I guess McKimson's version is, how the heck do I get this quote-unquote giant mouse out from somewhere where it logically would come from and into Sylvester's environment. In any case, they do it here. I think they do it in a rather interesting way, but we've actually got a few bits of trivia for this one. I didn't think there'd be much, but there's a little bit. There's not too many, but the animated breakdown is available. Our good friend Devin Baxter has got the animated breakdown sheet. It's online, it's easily available, and you can see who animated what. So in case you were curious which scenes Russ Dyson did and all the others that were on that list, it's right there. But curiously, the working title that was on that sheet, it was originally called Of Mice and Menace. I don't know, I prefer the Slap-Hoppy. I think that's a better title.
Yeah, you know, how many Mice and Men parodies titles have we done? I like Slap-Hoppy Mouse better.
Yeah, and it's a play on the saying slap-happy, you know, in case people weren't aware. I would assume most people would be, but these days you never know. Speaking of that train, it's a circus train, and that was pretty common around that time, where they would go from town to town on the railroads. These days it'd be with trucks, but back then it'd be mainly with the trains. And you'll see that's Claude Beatty. That is a name of a circus mogul by the name of Clyde Beatty. So, yeah, there is a reason for that name being there, and that's what it is. You'll notice on that property, I have to discuss that sign later on, but it is the Tralfaz property. And the name is interesting, because later on, it'd be the original name for a certain dog.
Yeah, it showed up in Hanna-Barbera, was the original name of Astro on the Jetsons. The connection, I'm not really sure, but it started turning up in Warner Brothers cartoons. If you'd see it on this sign, for example, Tralfaz. And our friend Don Yaup, who does the blogs for, there's Tralfaz, and then there's Yaup, using funny Hanna-Barbera names, but where did the word Tralfaz come from? We don't really know.
No, but I do have to give that shout out again to Don Yaup's blog, and I'll have a link below actually, because he does some amazing stuff over there, but that's his blog's name. And
Tralfaz.
yeah, and this is the first time you see it in Warner Brothers. I haven't seen it before, so I believe it shows up a few times in
It
McKim's
does,
stores.
yeah. So,
Why? Who knows? If
Yeah.
someone does have an answer, let us know. We're definitely curious.
and the most cartoon thing ever that a for sale sign in front of an old house would say, this desirable old rundown mouse-infested house.
I definitely have something to say about that, but people may not be aware of the reference that it's an Explorers Club. Just so people are aware what that is, and I'll be very brief with this, but the original Explorers Club was founded in New York City in 1904, and the idea is that it's a society where people of different fields, such as scientists, adventurers, archaeology, all sorts of things would meet up and they would discuss what they explored. And keep in mind, 1904, a large part of the world still had not been explored, really, because plane travel wasn't really around and people had to go with ships. And yeah, there was so much uncharted territory. So these societies were there so that people can discuss their findings and rich knowledge.
And back then, if you didn't really have a steady full-time job or a title, you could brand yourself as an adventurer or an explorer. And these people would just travel because they didn't have anything better to do, I guess.
I wish I could do that. You know, it's
Yeah,
like, you know, I
be
don't
nice.
want to work.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to be an explorer. I mean, that would be fun, I think.
Just give me money and I'll explore, you know? I guess the equivalent nowadays might be certain influencers that get paid to travel kind of thing. But
Yeah,
that
on somebody else's nickel, mind you.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that would help explain to those of you who might think, hang on, why is it in this particular house you've got all of these weapons everywhere, shields and guns? I mean, all right, you'd think they would have taken that with them. Maybe they didn't pay their rent or something. They had to be kicked out. I don't know. But that's why.
And a lot of this stuff has been sitting there a long time. And you look at how the house is so run down. And then you get to a scene where they're exploring a basement. And it's like, oh, that's a creepy place. I wouldn't want to hang there. You clearly see the decomposing trash can, and there's handprints on the wall, and like paint splotches and spider webs. It's something. Dick Thomas being really creative. This place has atmosphere, not in a good way.
Yeah, definitely. That's pretty much the trivia for this one. But, okay, confession time. One of the things that I regretted doing was watching all of the Hippety Hoppers in a row on that Superstars set. I mean, it's a nice set, even if the transfers there were a little bit dark. I think they did brighten it up a bit for the HD version.
They did.
Yeah. So this actually looks pretty decent. So if they slap this on a disc, or Slap-Happy this on a disc, haha.
I'd be happy with that. If they
Exactly.
slapped it on there, we'd be happy. Yeah, there
Exactly. There we go. We should be comedians. So what that unfortunately meant was that the ones around the middle or towards the end of that, if you were watching them in a row, they kind of all blended together. So I honestly forgot this one except for maybe the hunting hats, and that was it. I completely just forgot it. So when rewatching it nice and fresh here, I was actually pleasantly surprised. I mean, this is not going to rock up on my top 10 Looney Tunes or anything, but it's a very competently made, funny cartoon.
And I think it was, you compare it to Pepe Le Pew, and it's like, this was something that McKimson could churn out pretty quickly. And when these were only meant to be seen maybe once or twice in a theater and never again, there's a good chance that the audience had not seen another one, and certainly not recently. So it would be unique to them.
100%. In rewatching this one, while yes, it's the same formula, anyone can still just watch this one as their first one and still get it. Like, Ted Pierce can be hit or miss as a writer, but when he hits, he does it pretty well, and anyone watching this will get it. But it's such a great idea, though. I like the fact that you got Sylvester Jr. there, like I mentioned before. They're living the dream cat life. I think Sylvester Jr. is one that's yearning to join an explorers club. He likes to get out there, right?
Yeah. He thinks his dad's gone soft. He wants adventure and he wants to do something different. And so, okay, dad's going to take him hunting. And what's funny about it is Sylvester always brags about being a great mouse catcher, but we never actually see him being a good mouse catcher. In fact, he's not very good at all. And you throw in the fact that you've got a baby kangaroo that he mistakes for a giant mouse, and it's the same old thing. But he's not very good at chasing the little mouse either.
Well, he was actually a good mouse, so that was released this year by McKimson.
Oh, The Unexpected Best. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, so that's like an anomaly, really, that one. You know, It
Yeah.
actually shows Sylvester being a good mouser.
Yeah, and
But-
no Junior and no Hippety Hopper. It's kind of a nice change. It's a beautifully animated cartoon, too.
But it wasn't written by Pierce, so that would explain why, I guess. It's just a different thing. But I reckon we go through this short from start to finish and just go through why this one is a nice little gem that may not be a masterpiece, so to speak, but it's a solid short, even at this late in the game. Starting with, we see this beautiful lavish home, and I guess the most stylized thing of this short would have to be this butler that you see with the way he's animated. And McKimson seems to be doing this thing with the legs now, where If you look at Half Fair Hair, you see the Ralph character, how his legs are just one color, this brown color. They do the same thing here with this character, where it's just all black. I guess the same cost.
I guess. Yeah, and he kind of has this bow-legged walk, and he looks kind of UPA-ish, like you could throw him in a UPA cartoon.
And he's the only one.
Yeah.
The other characters are like typical 40s designs. And in fact, this feels almost like a 40s cartoon, really. But it isn't. I love the animation of Sylvester just being half asleep. Is like, what's going on, son? You should be appreciating all of this. Why are you complaining?
What's on your mind?
Father, I wish to ask you a question.
Question?
Yes, sir. How would a fellow go about getting a transfer out of this chicken chintzy outfit?
And that soft living inside their lavish mansion has ruined their once straight mouse for hunting mice. Junior's not appreciative, is he?
No.
He's not a real cat. This is every cat's dream here, but oh well, it is what it is. But I think we need to bring back into the vernacular what Sylvester says. He goes, oh, stuff and nonsense.
Son, we've got it soft.
That's just what all the cats around here are saying about you, Father. That soft living has ruined a once great mouser.
Oh, they are, aren't they?
Yes, they are they? And the shame of it is more than one of my tender years can face.
Oh, stuff and nonsense.
Stuff and nonsense fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna start saying that to my kids, I reckon. Once again, Sylvester's pride is challenged. Is basically like, oh, they're calling you a softie. I mean, who's they? We never know. Nor do we need to know. Sylvester decides, you know what? I'm gonna prove to my son that I can hunt mice. They both wear those hunting hats. And I gotta say, when you first see that scene with the hunting hats, I like how Sylvester's looking proudly at his dad. It's a brief moment.
Yeah.
It's a nice little start with that.
And so we go into the desirable mouse-infested rundown house. They just have to say desirable.
Yeah, whoever's the real estate for this is not doing a good job, because
No.
you would say that this is a fixer-upper. You'd make it a more positive spin. If anyone's watching this and they're a real estate agent or work with a real estate agent, let me know how you would describe this house on a billboard, okay? I'll be curious. I love the creepy nature of how this house actually looks. And even the colors in the background. I mean, again, say what you want about the artist. This looks beautiful, this one shot of this house.
Yeah. You see the shot of the house, and then you see the shot where they're going in the house. You see that tiger head on the wall, like that angle. That's kind of cool looking. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, it's got a nice mood to it. There's even one very brief shot where they enter, you see cobwebs from the upstairs. You got that shot like someone's looking down on them.
Yeah.
Sets the mood up very nicely. You see here that Sylvester's being very quiet. Remember, he's the expert mouser, so he's being quiet. Junior doesn't get it, so he's talking loud. It's like, I gotta use the stethoscope.
Keep very quiet now, son. We're entering mouse territory.
Father, where are they, Father? Where are all the mice, Father?
Don't be impatient, son. I'll soon ferret them out. Scientifically. Quiet now.
That's what the doctor puts it up to his ear, and then he puts the thing up to your heart and listens to your heart. Stethoscope.
Yeah.
So, of course, listen to the wall to find mice. And I guess if you hear a train going by, you think, oh, the walls are teeming with mice.
Yeah, and your ears will probably explode, because I don't know if you've ever worn those stethoscopes before and just tap the end. Like, even just a light tap, it's really loud.
Yeah, they're sensitive, yeah.
Yeah, Sylvester's going to be deaf now, but that's okay. It's just a cartoon after all. The train roars by. Again, nicely story convenient, and that's okay. That's not a complaint, but you can't deny that's what it is. But I do wonder, with how insecure that box is, maybe they had lots of other things on, and other things have just flown off the back during this train journey, and this is like the last box to fall off.
Right.
Who knows?
And you could do a whole another cartoon about what happens with another box. Maybe the Tasmanian devil falls off in another location, you know?
And I just like how it just bounces off conveniently into the actual basement. But it says baby kangaroo to city zoo. So is it a circus train? Is it a cargo? I don't know. I'm not going to worry about that too much.
Yeah, we're overthinking this.
Exactly. But of course, to drive the point home, you have to have that one zoomed in shot that says baby kangaroo, just to drive the point home that no, this is not a mouse. I would assume that just about any American would know, at least have a vague idea of what a kangaroo was, even if they hadn't seen one. Of course, my favorite line here, and this is where you guys got to come in, okay? Because I'm just curious if I've missed something with this. But they have a discussion where Sylvester says, oh, things are teeming with mice. And what does Sylvester Jr. say? He says,
House.
Hey, man, you're not broken down. You're a real cool cat.
Yeah.
hey man, you're not broken down, you're a real cool cat. In a very weird way.
Yeah.
Like Beatnik style.
Yeah, and I think it would be like maybe if a kid today said no cat or 6 and 7 or whatever they're doing now. It's like, what would a kid sound like trying to be cool? And I think in 1956, I mean, talking like a Beatnik, he would be just like, hey man, you're a real cool cat,
I was just trying to find, is it relating to any specific song? Because the Beatnik culture was starting to rise around this time, but I couldn't find any direct song. I even looked up lyrics, all that stuff, and I couldn't really find anything. So if that is a line from an actual song, let me know. But yeah, cool cat, well, that's just a saying of the time. I'm sure all the boys animating at the time would have loved Beatnik culture.
There were a lot of cartoons, particularly at Lance for some reason, that kind of made fun of rock and roll culture. And they really didn't like it. And for some reason, these guys were just of that age and they didn't get it. Made fun of hippies and rock and roll, and they didn't like the Beatles, they didn't like Elvis. And I'm like, why would they have such an adverse reaction? Well, it's just the way they were. They didn't get it back then.
Yeah, I guess in the 80s, making fun of rap culture and when rap was rising. So,
right.
Yeah,
and some of the things that made fun of that are kind of cringeworthy now. It's like, really? You didn't get it, did you?
Yeah, you didn't get it. You don't have to like it, but come on. There's not much to get,
Right.
I think it's just a parody of Beatnik culture, but again, if anyone has a better answer, definitely let me know. But Sylvester spots a mouse hole and tries to show his son that he can catch the mice. And the animation here is by Keith Darling, and I do like this animation here. It's definitely a highlight how he just tiptoes across. He's got the squint that McKimson liked to do at the time. And yeah, I just like that animation of him tiptoeing.
And then we see a mouse. I love the brush strokes on him where you barely see the mouse except when he stops, but then it's just dry brush on the cells to show him zipping around, and Sylvester falls through the floor. And then you get this great scene in this creepy basement. And I encourage you to freeze frame this basement and just look at what is going on with that trash can. What horrible thing is in there rotting away? And why are there paint blotches on the walls? And then watch Sylvester light the match. There's a cool lighting effect going on there. I wonder how they did that. I mean, that would have been very calculated in the cell painting department. And that's not something they were doing at this particular point in time.
Of course, Sylvester notices that it's a quote-unquote giant mouse and walks up and it's all white, and I just love that animation of him walking up there. It's such a great reaction. Now, one thing I wanted to point out is I like the fact that they did change up the formula a little bit here, in that usually you would have Sylvester, he sees a giant mouse, but the other character does not. So it's like the whole thing of Sylvester seeing things, right? And of course there's gaslighting involved. No, you're just seeing things and so on. Here, Sylvester states, there's a big mouse. Oh, I know you're not going to believe me. Well, actually, I do believe you. He's right behind you.
He must be a Texas mouse. Huge.
Oh, Father.
I don't blame you, son, if you don't believe me, but...
Oh, but I do believe you, Father. There he is, right behind you.
So, yeah, we got a little twist in that.
Yeah, the twist is that Junior actually does see him. And I love the animation where Junior is just like, oh, now's your chance to prove yourself. And he's grabbing Sylvester by the tail. It's almost shades of Scrappy-Doo or something.
Maybe this inspired that. I don't know. So there's always that possibility. But there's a lot of brush strokes here when they're dragging Sylvester through. Of course, his claws are really dug on the ground.
But really good animation, especially for McKimson at this time. I mean, they put some effort into this.
And of course, I know the other reason you picked this one is how Sylvester describes this mouse. It's a Texas mouse. Because everything's bigger in Texas.
It's
apparently.
true.
I mean, I can't wait to go to Texas so I can have some of those big steaks.
And I can tell you, I have seen some pretty big rats here. So they're not exaggerating when they say things are bigger in Texas. If there are big rats, there are big roaches. They're Texas-sized pests, indeed.
Oh, I can only imagine. As long as I can only see the oversized steaks, I'll be happy, yeah?
Yeah, as long as the oversized rat doesn't get to him first, right?
Well, I'll have to fight him off, won't I? I like the fact that, sure enough, that cats are not supposed to be afraid of mice. Junior has to remind him. And Sylvester has to talk to himself to realize, wait a minute, he meows? And he's like, yeah, I'm a cat. I'm not supposed to be afraid.
He's only a mouse, Father, and cats aren't afraid of mice.
Hey, that's right. Cats aren't afraid of mice, and I'm a cat. I think. Yeah. Yep, I'm a cat, so I'm not afraid of him.
There goes a brave pussycat.
Just a meow
Yeah.
he does.
I'm a cat.
Yep, I'm a cat. It just has to meow to confirm that. Mel Blake's performance in this one is great. I really enjoy it. And I think his best part is coming up very shortly. So we first get the usual, okay, Sylvester's going to try and get this big mouse, and he gets a shield to help himself, gets put through a wall. It's just stock standard stuff. But the next scene is a wonderful rule of 3 involving him trying to load this rifle, which I'm not familiar with guns. But is this like an old-fashioned rifle where you had to load it that way? Because this is not bullets, right?
It's a black powder gun, a musket.
Right.
So the way it goes is, I believe anyway, you're supposed to put the powder in first, and then you put the wadding and then the shot. But, you know, he doesn't know what order it's supposed to go in, and so he keeps screwing it up and gets shot through the ceiling. And then, you know, he's like, I know, I'll do it this way, I'll do it this way this time. And then the topper is great, where, you know, it's actually not his fault at all.
Now first you pour in some shot, a generous amount of black powder, some wadding, pack it down real good, and... Shucks, I know what I did wrong. First the wadding, yeah, that's it. First the wadding, then the shot, then the powder, yeah. Tap, 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 tap.
Oh, it's great. I mean, Mel Blanc's vocal performance in this scene is great. How he's like, yep, I got it. And he tries a second time, gets injured, but he's just so enthusiastic about trying again.
Yeah.
It's just great. Sylvester ends up seeing the small mouse.
And still gets shot through the ceiling. Yeah.
I got it now. I know just where I went wrong. Silly old me. The powder first. Yeah, that's it. First the powder. Powder first, then the wadding, shot. Oh, brother, are you gonna get it this time? Pack it down good and... Aha! So you're the little...
Hippety Hopper does nothing. Like, he just pretty much just hops up next to him and that's it. Doesn't do anything, and that's the one scene. I'll go kick out of that. Nice little rule of 3. Sure enough, we reach the very end, which involves... Honestly, this is probably my only criticism of the short. It just ends. So it's got iron glue and...
Carrying my father home again, stiff as a board.
Which, of course, imply that maybe he's had to do this before, and there's kind of a double entendre there. Like, he's drunk, but I mean, this is something that Sylvester Jr. has clearly had to do before in some way or another. But it does just end.
How it would be ended otherwise, I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but it just ends. It's like the story had nowhere else to go or something. Like, it felt like there could have been something a little bit more, but honestly, I enjoyed it otherwise.
Yeah, I think it's a good one.
Yeah, so in terms of score, look, this is not some unappreciated masterpiece, but I think it's a little underappreciated as a short. It's overlooked because it's, another Hippety Hopper, but this one's fun. I mean, this one gets, I don't know, 7.5 out of 10. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm going 6 out of 10. Yeah, it's okay.
Exactly. If it's on TV, well, what would you rather watch? This or a buddy short, you know? Like, you know what I mean? This is still fun.
And again, if you're not watching them all in a row, the Sylvester and Hippety, and this one comes on in between a Bugs and a Roadrunner, you know, I'll take it. Absolutely.
100%. Yeah. So if you do get that set, just get it so you have those cartridges available, but don't do what I did and watch them all in a row, okay?
Yeah.
But that will do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and until next time, take care.
Oh, the shame of it all. Carrying my father home again, stiff as a board.